Hey, hi, a very good morning. For those of you who've joined in early, the session is about to start off in a few minutes. Meanwhile, you can make yourself comfortable, probably grab a notepad and a cup of coffee because we are going to have an exciting and interesting session today. And it's going to be starting off in a few minutes. So, before we get into today's presentation, I'd ask you for a quick little favor if you can hear my audio loud and clear, and if you can see my screen as well clearly. This is the usual audio video sound check that we do. If you can hear me and if you can see my screen, you can make use of the chat window to confirm the same. A quick audio video test if you can hear me loud and clear and if you can see my chat as well. All right, wonderful. Thank you so much for the confirmation, guys. We are set and good to go. Hi, all, a very good morning. First of all, wish you all a very, very happy new year. The first webinar for the new year, the season. Yes. So, thank you once again for having taken the time to have joined me today. This is Jay, product expert from the AD Solutions team here at ManageEngine. So first things first, before we get into today's webinar, for those of you who have questions coming in during the course of the webinar, you can feel free to go ahead, shoot your questions right at me, and I'll take them then and there. Maybe if I miss out on one or two questions, don't worry, I'll have them covered towards the end of the session. We'll have a dedicated Q&A, all right? As regards to the recording of this specific webinar, just drop me a message towards the end with your email address on the chat, and I'd be more than happy to share both the video and the presentation deck. Yes? All right, so today's topic is going to be an interesting one. Why do I say that? Because today's topic, like you must have already noticed, is about two of industry's most valued and valuable technologies. What are they? IT services management and identity access management coming together. So the synergy between your help desk tool and your Active Directory management is what we'll try and achieve in today's webinar. So if you're already aware of how this integration works, you're going to get deeper insights as to how to set it up, get going. Yes, for those of you who are new to this integration, for those of you who've been using Service Desk Plus for quite some time and would definitely be excited by the idea of being able to manage your Active Directory from within your Service Desk Plus console, yes, stay tuned through the section. We'll be talking about everything starting from user onboarding to management and offboarding. So the entire user lifecycle end to end, we'll be trying and understanding as to how this specific integration is going to simplify that, streamline that, and have that put in such a way that the whole experience is easy. Yes, that's the idea behind today's session. So we're going to try and empower every single Service Desk Plus user. It could be the administrator, it could be your IT help desk, or it could be yourself, or it could be your end users. Irrespective of who the stakeholder is, we'd try and empower all of them. So we are going to let the end users, say the HR or the line manager or the normal employees in your organization, get the opportunity to make requests for Active Directory changes. And you, as administrators or technicians, all you have to do is just get into the request, check for its authenticity, and apply the specific action. And like magic in the background, the integration is going to do all the weightlifting for you. So getting into today's session, how does this integration happen, or how does this integration work? What are the basic requirements for this integration to work? So manage engines, two top offerings: one, the Service Desk Plus, which you must have already been using, the help desk tool from Manage Engine, the IT service management tool, and number two is ADManager Plus, the Active Directory management and reporting module of Manage Engine. So both of these modules are coming together to get this integration possible, and we'll be through the session solving certain key challenges that every help desk technician faces in the course of business. All right. So I've put together the top three challenges that every help desk technician faces, especially with AD management or Active Directory management. The first one is the most common one, the one that we all face day in, day out. So you have a mail from the HR saying that you have to onboard 10 new joinees. All right. From the very first sight of it, you already know that you'll be ending up spending like half a day at least for this task. Yes. And why is that? That's because given the number of applications that have to be provisioned for a user, they've become a lot. It's not just Active Directory. You'll have to toggle between multiple windows. You'll have to get applications provisioned across platforms. You'll have to ensure that the data is accurate. You'll have to have accounts provisioned in AD, accounts provisioned in Office 365, licenses assigned in Google Apps, Exchange mailbox created. The list is endless. So the toggle is more or less unavoidable. So to have that problem sorted out, to have that streamlined, the native tools don't really have a way. The Active Directory users and computers console does not really have an inbuilt way. And the biggest problem is the lack of a 360-degree provisioning, a holistic one-dimensional or one-direction approach. So all of that is not available, and that's the exact pain point that we've understood and we've worked a solution for. All right. In addition to the problem of provisioning users across platforms, we are also going to try and understand a few more fundamental but definitely important problems. So if something goes wrong when you're doing Active Directory management through the native tools, you have a PowerShell script. You run that script to perform a specific task, say onboarding users, but if something goes wrong, you don't get clear-cut error notifications. That's a big problem. When it comes to an organization, say where there are 5 help desk technicians, all of them take care of onboarding. In such instances, making sure that the onboarding process is standardized, starting with the naming formats, is a difficult thing to enforce. So one help desk technician after the other has to be educated towards that. So that again is a problem. Instead, what if there's a process that would ensure that the naming formats are standard? Likewise, another monumental, humongous challenge in organizations is Active Directory filled with duplicate accounts or duplicate user objects. That can cause a lot of chaos and a lot of trouble, and from a security standpoint, that indeed is a very big problem. So we'll try and handle duplicates as well. So the approach that we'll take today is pretty simple. We have two products, one for the IT service desk, another for the Active Directory management. So we're bringing both of it together in such a way that the next time when you receive an onboarding request, you'll be able to act on that request at the very next moment, also meeting your service level agreement or your SLA and having that user on board with all those necessary Active Directory attributes. It does sound more like an overpromise, but then no worries. I'm going to walk you through the session and you'll understand how this integration makes this possible. All right, so that's the first challenge that we'll be solving. Just to put things in perspective, the next slide right here tells you what exactly is the problem. So there's a request coming in from your HR on your help desk tool, and then you have to toggle to your Active Directory users and computers console to create that specific user, have all those attributes starting from group membership, starting from the container of which the user has to be a part of. Also, not to forget the password related attributes being filled out, all security related permissions being sanctioned, and all that tedious one after other attributes to be filled out. And Exchange mailboxes definitely need to be configured. Post that, if you have cloud apps in your environment, you will have to have accounts provisioned for all of that. So the whole process has now become very messy. And what could be an offshoot of this specific, situation? There could be problems in terms of the accuracy of the data, since there's going to be a lot of manual work involved. There's a request from the HR, you speak to the corresponding team, you ensure that the corresponding team gives the right direction towards the group memberships or access to important files and folders and all of that. So when this is manually done with a lot of to and fro communication, there are always chances that something could possibly go wrong because it's done manually. And irrespective of who's responsible for the mistake, irrespective of who in the chain has made the mistake. We all know that it's always going to be the administrators or the help desk technicians who are to be blamed. So that's again a very big problem. So we not want such inconsistencies or inaccuracies in our system. So what we are trying to do right here is, for a change, instead of taking up all the responsibility on our very own shoulders, we are going to try and hand over a bit of it to the actual stakeholder who's making the request. If it's the HR making an onboarding request, let's give them a simple form. Let them fill out the form, and then you're going to get a simple request. All right, but then an intelligent request, mind me, and at your convenience, you can act upon that specific request from your actions menu right away and have your user onboarded with all necessary AD attributes. So what could possibly go wrong? And simultaneously, accounts are going to be provisioned across platforms. So it would definitely be a game changer in terms of reducing your onboarding backlogs and make the whole thing a thing of the past. Onboarding backlogs are definitely not going to be your problem. All right. So that is one big challenge that we'll be solving today. Further, we'd be exploring another challenge, which is password management. This is my least favorite one. Why do I say that? Because many a times all users in the organization, most of them tend to keep forgetting their password. This is one problem that can never go away, or never seems to at least go away. All right. And especially if it's after the holiday season, rest assured you are going to have hundreds of tickets flooding in just for password reset. And based on statistics, help desk technicians end up spending close to 30% of their time for password resets. That's something that's not acceptable at all, given the sheer load of work that the technicians already take. Password management or password reset is something not worth spending your time on. Instead, we are again trying and simplifying this process as well and streamlining this process. So we are talking about an end-to-end process where we are trying to simplify the onboarding, we are trying to do the management bit of things, and definitely we are going to be discussing about a clean offboarding. All right, when I say clean, just keep that in mind. I'll let you know what exactly I'm talking about when I demonstrate. All right. So how is all of this going to be possible? How is this grand story going to get into action? So ADManager Plus and Service Desk Plus need to integrate. That's the first basic requirement. And the actions that can be performed thanks to this integration would include user creation, which is onboarding, and then definitely user management, which would include unlocking an account when locked out instantly, so you can act upon it right away, resetting end user's password from within your help desk. And when it comes to deprovisioning, yes, you could disable users and delete them as well. And mind me, all of this is from your help desk tool. Don't need to switch to another tool. All right. So to get this integration in place, what do we need? We'll have to set up a two-way handshake between these two applications. That's going to be the first step. Then we'll go on and assign corresponding roles. Say, for example, if it's creation, you can have it assigned to a specific help desk role. You can have it assigned to a specific help desk template. Yes. And finally, your end users are going to get the provision to make requests, all right, for all those AD management actions. So this is the fundamental behind our integration. So we'd want to bring all those AD management capabilities into your help desk tool. So how is that going to be possible? Let me quickly set that up and show it for you. All right, so the first thing that we'll have to do is get to our Service Desk Plus console, the one console which you're already familiar with. Get into the admin tab, and from the admin tab, what you'll have to look for is ME integration, manage engine integration. All right, so quickly looking up for ME integration. So the whole setup is pretty simple. It would take less than 5 minutes to set it up. I'm saying ADManager Plus, it's already in place. That's because it's an manage engine application. So just walking you through once more, we are getting into the admin tab. We are talking about an ME integration. It's the ADManager Plus configuration that we're doing, the first part of the handshake. Make sure that you enable the ADManager Plus menu just so that all your end users get access to the catalog. All right. From the configuration bit, it's straightforward, and many a times it's automatically configured, or the data is automatically filled out when the products are running in the same console or in the same server. So that is fetched. So what I'll have to do is do the first step, which is test the connection and try saving it. Wonderful. It says ME integration has been updated successfully. So the first step of the handshake is done. So I've initiated a request for a handshake from Service Desk Plus to ADManager Plus. So toggling to ADManager Plus and figuring out the next half of the integration. So this is ADManager Plus. For those of you who aren't really familiar with ADManager Plus, a quick overview. The product lets you perform Active Directory management. So end-to-end Active Directory management is what can be done with ADManager Plus. You can do management for users, computers, groups, you name the object. Management actions are available for that. Extensive management actions are available. Office 365 management is also available, and when it comes to permissions management, the file server permission management are the most useful ones. All right, I'm going to give you a quick overview of what user creation templates are in a while. Please have that in mind. User creation templates, it's more like a clue to what we'll be seeing in the next half of the session. So user creation templates. All right, so AD reports give you an extensive list of reports. There are close to 200 plus out of the box reports for various Active Directory scenarios, especially the ones that you would want to have instant access to. Say you have an active users in your organization and you want an instant list of them, you can generate a report. You want to get hold of the logon activities of users, you can generate logon related reports. You want to check the group membership and go intricate and check for nested groups, you can do that. And there are multiple other groups for GPOs, for computers, for Office 365 in terms of license management. Yes, that can be also done. You can find out licenses assigned to Office 365 users. And yes, definitely the NTFS users, not to forget the permissions related reports. So the product as such gives you a complete control on your Active Directory, and also at the same time lets you have deep insights as to what exactly is the situation in your org. All right, so the integration that we're talking about is again going to be a part of the admin module. All right, from the admin module, I'm going to look up for integration. So there is it. So from the integrations module, I'll have to quickly select Service Desk Plus. Since the first half of the handshake is already done, the second half is what's that is left. Again, since both of them are from the same hood, we've got the details already filled up. All I have to do is just ensure this checkbox is checked, which will enable a tight integration with Service Desk Plus, and this will allow you to perform all those tasks from your Service Desk Plus console. So that's the idea behind the integration. So how long did it take? It's a pretty straightforward process. I can quickly say test connection and save and see the integration coming to life. So yes, the integration has been successfully updated and the integration is set up. I'm done with the first step, which is setting it up. One quick recap: admin tab, integrations, Service Desk Plus, key in your server details, enable tight integration. From Service Desk Plus side, admin tab, ME integrations, ADManager Plus, basic details, test connection, and the handshake is so effortless and smooth. It just took me 5 minutes, that's all. So once this integration is set up, once this integration is live, I'm immediately having access to 6 Active Directory operations right here. So I'm able to see creation, deletion, disabling a user, enabling, resetting a password, again a very useful one, unlocking user account. So since today's focus is more on the onboarding and offboarding, we'll be talking predominantly about user creation and disable and delete. I'll also give you a sneak peek into all of this, no worries. So creation is the first action that's come up. Since the integration is set up, I'm going to quickly check how the action can be mapped. So here it's obvious that this specific action can be mapped to roles. I do not want all helpless technicians to have the provision to create users in Active Directory. I can very well restrict that. I can select a specific role from the list of roles, say for example the SD admin, and just grant the SD admin alone the permission to manage users. All right. So I can have roles configured. So that's the first step. And then I can have templates mapped. So for this demonstration, I'm keeping it pretty simple and straightforward, and it's just going to be the basics, and I'm updating it. So meanwhile, I have a question right now that regarding the Service Desk Plus and ADManager Plus integration. So does this integration work with the cloud application as well? At this point in time, we are currently working on that cloud integration. So Service Desk Plus Cloud and ADManager Plus Cloud are going to be integrated, John, pretty soon when the marketplace for Service Desk Plus is available. So we are working on a exclusive marketplace for Service Desk Plus Cloud. Yes, and once that's done, the plugin will be available, ready for install, and we'll be good to go. Yes. So at this point in time, it's just the on-prem version that we are offering support for. All right. So the integration is done. The actions are also selected, are available. Likewise, you can go one action after the other, get into those actions and allocate those actions to specific roles. Now all of the basic steps are done. I'm done with setting up the integration. I'm done with assigning the roles. What's next? The obvious step. I'd want to make requests and check how it looks. So I'm going to quickly switch consoles. I've logged in as Brendan, who apparently is the HR in my organization, and Brendan now has access to all of these cool service catalog templates under user management. Thanks to the integration, all these templates have come up, and Brendan can quickly make a request for any of the actions that are listed right here. Since it's the onboarding season, Brendan wants to onboard a new employee. All right. So it's going to be employee onboarding. The HR is trying to access the service catalog template and onboard the whole thing. All right. So here we've got the employee name. All right. So that's going to be the name of the new joinee who's coming in. Let's say Mike Jordan. Wonderful. So that's going to be the name of the new employee joining. That's my new joinee, and Brendan, the HR, is making a request. The template already has certain values pre-populated. Like you can see, the description is already filled out and in place for me, making my job a lot more simpler. Michael is going to be a part of the sales department. All right. So Michael is going to be a sales engineer. So it's not very different or difficult that would require any of your end users to get trained. It's the simple, plain old request. All right. So the HR gets into the template, makes a request for user onboarding. So here, excuse me, the user onboarding is for Michael Jordan, the new user who's got to be onboarded to the sales department. Right? There's a provision to key in the last name, that's optional, and I'm going to make the add request, which is I'm going to go ahead and submit the request. But then wait. We were talking so much about having applications provisioned across platform. We were talking so much about making sure that all relevant AD attributes are pre-filled for that specific user. But then this request seems to be very simple. It does not really hold any of that data. Let's see how this goes forward. Okay, I'm still going to go ahead and submit the request. All right, so the request for creating a new user by the name Mike Jordan for the sales department and for the title sales engineer. So that's the basic request that the HR has made. All right, so the request is being processed. The request will get forwarded to the corresponding IT help desk technician or the administrator. Let's check. Yes, wonderful. So the new joinee onboarding request has been successfully made. All right, so I'm going to switch back roles and impersonate the administrator once again. Getting back, looking up for the request that I must have received. All right, so here I have a list of requests, and the topmost request or the first request that's in my inbox is the request made by Brendan, the HR, for onboarding the new joinee. So I have a request. So I'm getting into the request. All right, so the request looks pretty basic. It's just got the details, the bare minimum, whatever was communicated by the HR, just like a usual service request. Nothing different or nothing great about it. So I'm able to see that the job title is filled out. Michael Jordan is the name of the user. And yes, definitely the department is also filled out as sales. So when I go on top, from the actions menu, I should be able to see something different this time. And what is that going to be? Getting into the actions menu, here I have a list of all those applications or all those actions that the integration has got me. I'm having creation, I'm having unlock, disable, delete, reset password, and disable user. So all of that has become available to me on my form action menu. So here in this case, it's user onboarding. So pretty obvious, I'll have to go on with the create user. All right, I'm selecting that. So far there's not been a point where I've got any clarity as to how different is this specific approach. It seems very basic. Again, there's a form that's opened up that says create new user, and automatically all those important values are fetched from the request. Since password is a mandatory field, I'm going ahead and filling out a password. This is just a test password. Don't worry, this isn't the strongest password that one could think of. Just a test password right here. And I'm gonna say create AD user. But all this long, still now, I haven't been able to relate to the case that I've been discussing. Where is the provision to create users in Office 365? How are Google Apps going to be assigned? How are the attributes pertaining to the sales department going to be mapped? I have no clue. But here comes the trick question. So a while back, I had given you a clue. We were talking about ADManager and I had spoken about user creation templates and I had asked you to remember. So that exactly is going to be our strongest weapon of choice. So here I have a template that says 360-degree user provisioning, and then apparently seems to be a drop down. So let's see what's available. Wonderful. So there's a 360-degree user provisioning template, which ideally means that accounts are going to be provisioned across platforms: Office 365, Skype for Business, Google Apps, the Exchange mailbox, and all that. And in addition, accounts can also be provisioned based on a specific condition. Accounts can be provisioned to the HR department, to the IT, to the marketing, sales. All of that is also available. Department based conditions. I also have conditions for a role. I have a condition that says trainee. So if Mike Jordan has to be onboarded as a trainee, I might as well pick this template right here. Or if Mike Jordan is more like a vendor to the organization, I can pick that. The templates or the user creation templates are going to be the game-changing element of this integration. All right. So these templates were a part of the ADManager applications and have been imported to Service Desk Plus, like the way you see it. So the 360-degree user provisioning was selected by default, and I'm going to go ahead and hit create AD user to see what happens. So in the background, the product is going to communicate with my Active Directory through ADManager Plus. So ADManager Plus is going to ensure that the accounts are provisioned across those three platforms. Exchange mailboxes are created. The Office 365 license is assigned, and yes, the G app or the G suite is also created. In addition, like you can see, the process has been successful. It very clearly prompts me with a message that the G suite has been created, O365 has been set in place, and yes, directory sync will also be completed for this specific user with this specific username and this password. Don't tell anyone. So all of this is possible. And how was that? Because we had the right user creation template selected. So to summarize whatever we've been speaking so long, there was a request from the HR which seemed very basic. The IT help desk technician selected that request, got into it, used the actions menu and hit create new user. It again looks pretty simple. The toughest step is to select the right template, and the template here is 360-degree user provisioning. I'd want to go on and quickly check if such a user has been created with all those attributes that I'm claiming to have, or all those attributes that this user should have, because he is a part of the sales department and there's going to be a lot of requirement for that user. All right, I'm going to quickly move back to ADManager Plus, switching to ADManager Plus. All right, this is more for a confirmation. Don't need to get confused. I'm getting into ADManager Plus and looking up for Mike Jordan from the dynamic search bar available in ADManager Plus. Let me check if Mike has got an account right now in Active Directory. Yes, like I guessed, Michael Jordan's account has been created. Let me get into Mike Jordan's account and look up his properties. So here we're able to see for what was a very simple, or so to say a basic service request and a basic action, I've got a user object created with the name, with the details, with the description, with the office details as well, and as a matter of fact the organization unit, which is of predominant importance, all of that selected rightly and in place for me. So from the accounts tab I'm also able to see that attributes like the membership is pre-populated just the way I want it to be. So the membership is rightly populated. I can quickly go on and have the membership viewed right here. So it says sales officer. So how was all this possible in the first place? I'm just zooming in that for you. So sales officer, all right. And then when I get to the next tab, I'm able to see that from the contacts tab that the title and description are filled out. And as a matter of fact, even the manager attribute is filled out. Yes. So all this has been possible because the template, or the 360-degree user creation template, was doing the magic in the background. So when the right template is selected, all those AD attributes that can be pre-thought or you can think through and have assigned can be assigned for your requirements. So now comes the question. Did not select a sales template. I had just selected a 360-degree template. I could have had a user to be provisioned to the marketing department. How would that case be handled? And including all those other background tasks for account creation across platforms. So I'm going to get back to AD Manager, the AD Management tab, and user creation templates. All right. So when you try out the product, please feel free to get in touch with me in case you have any queries in creating a user creation template. So this is the most exciting part of the product. You can have templates created for unlimited number of scenarios. So the one that I had picked was the 360-degree template. I'm opening up that template. The name is pretty self-explanatory. All those important Active Directory attributes are categorized under understandable sections, unlike the native AD you see where you have to go screen after screen. We've got all of that categorized in just a single pane under all these headers, and you will get to pre-specify what value goes where. So since this is a generic 360-degree template, I have G Suite and Office 365 enabled, and I have multiple other tabs from where I can have values configured. All right. So I was talking about a condition where what if a user has to be boarded to a different department for a different role? That's when we have something called as the intelligent creation rules. So every time when a condition is satisfied, certain attributes are going to get automatically applied. So here the rule 3 got applied. The department was sales, and therefore all sales related attributes got populated. So the group membership was done right, the manager was assigned rightly, the user was put in the right organization unit, the description was filled out, and in fact even the office attribute was filled out. So the permutations and combinations are innumerable. You can set your very own rule, very own condition. So here you can select from the available list of conditions and specify the condition. All right, it could be title as well. You can say sales engineer to be the title, or any other title that's available. All right, from the list of titles you can have these titles configured through the product. So what if I want a sales officer to be onboarded? I'd want a different set of attributes right here. I can always go on and modify these attributes. I can select any of the attributes right here and pre-specify. All right, so that's the advantage of the user creation templates. So when I open up the next rule, you will actually get more clarity. So here, this rule is for the information technology department. If the department was information technology and if the title was engineer, I'd want the attributes to be assigned as this and this. Likewise, if the department is marketing when the request was made and the designation was this or anything else for that matter, I can have values set for description. I can say the description has to be marketing executive. So this is completely customizable, so I'm having that condition added as well. So I can have any other values, any other conditions set from the list of available attributes. In fact, I can go on and assign licenses based on conditions. So the marketing department will need a set of O365 apps. Corresponding licenses can be assigned. Likewise, the sales department will need another set of apps. There as well you can assign licenses. So the user creation templates with the layout view can simplify your entire onboarding process. So if this is a little overwhelming, or if this is a little complicated, setting conditions and having values assigned, which in fact is the best way to do it, just in case if you find that to be a little complex, to simplify it all the more, you can have templates for departments. You can have exclusive templates for departments. That's what I'm saying. Instead of creating that smart conditions that we just saw, you can have exclusive templates created, like the ones that are here. So for people like me, I'd go with the basic templates. I'd create templates for specific departments instead of going with one template and creation rules, which is more like the best practice. So here I have the templates configured for different departments. So one, let me open up the marketing department template and show you the layout view. So all those attributes for the marketing department will be a part of the template, so already pre-filled there. All right, from the accounts tab, you'll be able to see marketing related attributes again. Here you go. So what I'm going to do right now is, just for clarity, I'm going to walk you through once more through the process of making a request. This time it's going to be a user for the marketing department. All right, and I'm going to pick this template that I just walked you through, the template right here, and let's see how different is it from the first case. Getting back and impersonating the HR. The HR's been very busy. The HR's constantly going on and making onboarding requests. But then, since the IT now has the AD management integration, not a big problem at all. So let the HR make the request. We have the tool to tackle that. So here, let me go ahead and make another request, user management, and this time again it's going to be onboarding. So likewise, we have integrations with other service desk applications as well. So we integrate with ServiceNow as well, and the feature set is pretty much the same. All right. So we are working on many such integrations. In fact, we are working on integrations with HR databases like Oracle and MS SQL databases to make things easier. We've got integrations with Workday, Zendesk, and all of that in the pipeline. That's how we are proceeding in terms of our product development. Just a quick heads up on that front. So we were talking about creating a new request for a new user. So I want the next user to be Roy. Let me say Roy and Halliday. That's my new user to be provisioned, and this time it's for the marketing department. All right, marketing, and the job title could be marketing manager. So what I'm doing is, this time around I'm again creating a simple request. The HR's making the request has been made, toggling back to become the administrator, getting into the requests module to check if I've received the request. All right, so here I'll be able to see the new request that I've received, and this time around I'm going to take a different approach. Instead of going with the 360-degree user creation template, I'm going to take the marketing template. So I've selected the corresponding request, the one that recently came in, the last one for Roy. So getting into that specific request, seeing what I can do about the request. Again, it's going to be the actions menu from where you have to select your desired AD action. Here it's for user provisioning. It very clearly states the requirement: new joinee accounts across platforms for this employee. all right, and I say create AD user. So what is going to happen is the form gets updated right away. So it's for the new user, Roy. Password again is going to be password at 123, the most intelligent password that I could think of. So in this case, it's the marketing department that I'm selecting. The template is different this time. I'm saying marketing department, and I'm saying create AD user. So you will be able to see that the user object will get created in Active Directory with marketing related attributes like group membership, like organization unit, like the manager, all of that set right because I selected the right template. All right, this is more like a quick recap on how this functionality works. So I've set create AD user, and the user creation is going to be happening in the background. ADManager is going to serve as the pipeline, and it's going to perform the task on behalf of the help desk, get that action done and create the user, and there you go. So Roy has been successfully created in Active Directory. All right, toggling back the usual check that we do. So by this time you would know what ADManager Plus can do for you. It can help you do a quick search on any user object in your Active Directory. It dynamically lists all those users. So I just have a user created right now, and there you go. So Roy has been created. I'm opening up Roy's account to check if the marketing attributes are populated. That's my only requirement. If we're done with that, we're good to go. So like we guessed, yes, we have the marketing attributes populated, or the conditions met and the attributes automatically populated. So marketing, it says marketing. When I get in the contact tab, I'm able to see that the manager is also different around this time. Accounts tab, the group membership last time was sales related, and this time supposed to be marketing related, and there you go. So the whole process of onboarding, which could have ideally taken you a lot of time, a lot of to and fro actions, is simplified with a one-time template that could let you streamline and also at the same time ensure that there are no mistakes made at all. Since you're doing it once, you can get it right at the first shot. You can create unlimited number of templates for various cases and ensure that the right attributes are populated in every such template. This gets a lot more useful when you're working with important accounts, when you're working with critical data. Say, for example, you have users to be onboarded as top executives. You can set the group membership rightly at the very start. No need to manually key in the group membership. That way, avoiding any ambiguity, that way, avoiding any excessive permission or granting the wrong user any excessive permission. So, that way, we're streamlining the whole Active Directory management. So, the templates can, in fact, perform a lot more. I've just covered the surface, I've just scratched the surface. In case you want to know more about the templates, just drop me a mail or just drop me a message on the chat, and I'd love to share the video, a detailed explainer video we've got on the templates. All right, just a few more functionalities for the templates, and I'm going to go quickly to offboarding. So we were talking about standardizing naming formats, and we were talking about preventing duplicates. The templates are completely customizable. You can enable the drag and drop and alter the complete layout. So here the attribute of my interest is the logon name. I'd want this attribute to be the fingerprint attribute, or so to say the most unique attribute, or literally no duplication at all. So I can quickly edit that attribute. All right, one, make it mandatory, which is the obvious requirement, and then say check for duplicates. So every time when the process is going to be through ADManager Plus, it's going to check for duplicates at a domain level or forest level based on your selection, and either not create a user if the user has the same name, or choose to alter the user's logon name to a different format. It could be the format that you set. It could be first name plus last name. So last time it was Michael Jordan. What if another user comes with the same name? All right, there could be definitely only one Michael Jordan, but then I'm just saying, what if the user comes with the same name? You can very well differentiate that with another alternate naming format. Say last name plus first name, it's going to be Jordan.Mike. So that way you can not just stop, but also you can have the user in with a different naming format. So one problem solved. If you want to streamline the process, you can very well create your own naming formats and at the very start. All right, so standardized naming formats and prevention of duplicates with the help of templates. In case you want to make certain attributes mandatory in your Active Directory, such as the employee ID, you can very well go on, edit it, and make it mandatory. Here we are doing a very big task. It seems so simple. In less than a second, I've made an Active Directory attribute mandatory without having to alter the schema in my Active Directory. I don't need to be a schema admin to do this. But if the onboarding happens through the product, I can enforce restrictions at the product level through the templates. All right. So we've seen enough about the whole onboarding process. Now it's time to go on to offboarding. All right. So swapping back to the HR. So the HR has been pretty busy and wants the user to be offboarded. This time, who's it going to be? So the HR has decided that Mike has stayed in the organization long enough and it's time for Mike to leave. So what can be done is the HR can quickly look up for the right template from the service catalog, selecting the template. So here again under user management, the template is going to be offboarding the employee. So the HR has access to the service catalog templates, the ones that came up because of the integration. The request is being made by Brendan for the employee Mike, right? I'm getting it right, I guess. It's going to be Mike Jordan. And then the name can also be filled out. So here we have a lot of things done for us already in place. All we have to do is just key in the name of the user. The HR's got to just say which user has to be deleted and make a request. So the administrator now should have received a request from the HR for deprovisioning or deletion. And when it comes to deprovisioning from organization to organization, the deprovisioning process is going to vary. In certain organizations, you are going to have a phased, timed process of deprovisioning. All right, you will first disable the user, then move them to a quarantine, or you will quarantine them and then probably remove their group membership and finally delete them. If that's the case, we support that as well, and I'm going to get to that in a while. All right, I'll show you how. So here we just had a basic delete request and I have that request. So the request was made by the HR for deprovisioning a user, in this case Mike. It's sad that Mike has to leave, but then the HR is pretty sure and it's made the request and it's got to happen. So from the actions menu right here, I can very quickly select the specific action, in this case delete AD user. Alright, so what I want to do is delete this specific AD user. I'm selecting delete AD user. The console is loading up and there you go. So Mike Jordan's account has been dynamically picked up or fetched from my Active Directory. The SAM account name is the reference and it says Mike Jordan, and I can say select the user and delete the user. So just one click away from Michael Jordan going away from my organization. Before that, I'd want to tell something really important. So when this deprovisioning is happening, it's not just going to be the AD or Active Directory account that has to be deleted. As a matter of fact, during the very beginning, we provisioned accounts in Office 365, Google Apps, we created Exchange Mailbox and a lot more for Mike. And in normal course of business, a user is going to get access to a lot more number of applications during the course of business. So over the years, more applications are going to be added to the user account. So when the organization decides to deprovision, the wipe has to be a clean wipe. So this is what I told during the introduction. So is there a provision to wipe off all those traces for a user, just so that there's no backdoor entry, just so that everything is managed rightly? Ideally, organizations can maintain a checklist of deprovisioning, things to do when you have to deprovision an account and perform. But instead, if you're going to do it the ADManager way, through this integration, the product is going to back you up in that front as well. So I'm getting into the admin tab and showing you what the product can do for you. All right, so here the product has something called as the disable and delete policy. So the disable and delete policy is going to trigger a chain of actions. So this is going to serve as your checklist of deprovisioning and perform all those necessary actions when the Active Directory deprovisioning is triggered. So if I'd want to go on and delete my O365 accounts for Mike, I can do that. If I'd want to delete the G Suite account, I can do that. If I'd want to delete the mailbox permanently, again, I can do that as well. And a lot more can be done. And like I told you, just like how there's a provision to run a custom script during provisioning, there's also a custom script capability. A custom script can be triggered when deprovisioning. So how is this going to be helpful? So for those applications that are given during the course of business, for those actions that you'd want to trigger when a user is leaving, you can very well key in your own custom script and have that run. If in case you want a specific action and you want our help, our developers can work with you for a custom script of your requirement and share that with you, no problem there as well. All right. And it's not just for the delete that we support a delete policy. If you're planning to just disable the account, there again you can remove the EUM, you can move them to a specific OU, you can quarantine them. That's what I'm saying. You can move those users right away as an offshoot. So when a user is disabled, you'd want them to be moved to a quarantine OU. Can I do that? Yes, I can. So here I'm selecting the corresponding OU to which those disabled users have to be moved. So this is my condition. I want to quarantine them. When I say disable, I can do that. I can remove them all their direct reports. I can run a custom script again. I can revoke all their Office 365 licenses, disable their accounts, reset passwords, and do a lot more. Yes. So that long checklist of disable and deprovisioning is consolidated under these two tabs with the provision to run your own script as well. So your offboarding, which seems so simple from the product point of view, all I have to do is just get into the actions, say delete user, and I just click delete right here. So all that the admin has to do is click delete, and in the background a lot of weightlifting is going to happen thanks to the integration, thanks to ADManager. It's going to get all of those tasks done for you. All right, so when I say delete, the explanation that I gave you, it seemed so quick. It just said user deleted, but in the background, the Office 365 license has been deleted, the Google apps have been deleted, the Exchange mailbox has been deprovisioned, and all of this has happened. All right, so now it brings us to the interesting question that I've got right here, which is exactly what I was about to explain next. So John has asked me if the whole process can be automated, all right, and if there is going to be an audit trial to this. Yes, it's not just the management that we support, we also help you keep a tight tab on what's happening in your environment. All right, so the deprovisioning bit is done. I'm going to switch to ADManager to explain how the whole process of both onboarding and offboarding can be automated. All right, so in ADManager, you have a provision to set something called as an automation policy. These are pretty simple policies, straightforward ones where you can have stepwise actions executed one after the other. All right, so I have a deprovisioning policy already configured for the benefit of you guys. So here the deprovisioning policy has all those actions listed one after the other. So it's a simple user automation policy that will move the users to a OU, which is I'll quarantine them, I'll remove their group membership and clear all their attributes. Okay, I can do more instant tasks. I'm just showing you the basic. I can remove their group membership, all those critical groups, or I can choose to clear off their all group membership. And then I can run a successive task after a said time span. Say after 14 days or your set time interval, I want them to be disabled. I want their mailboxes to be deleted. And after 30 days, I want the user to be deleted. Or if you have your very own use case, or if you have your very own task to be performed, you want a custom script that has to run on the 25th day, you can do that. You want an action of your choice to be run, you can do that from the list that is available right here. You can disable link, delete their home folder, remove their O365 licenses in whichever order you choose, and all of this can be automated with ADManager. So when I get into the automation, since the policy is already configured, right, all I have to do is task the product with doing the operation. So I have a cleanup task set up right here. I can say cleanup, which is Active Directory cleanup, and it's a user automation process again. The deprovisioning policy that I just explained, the stepwise process, is selected to be the logic or the policy. And since the product has extensive list of reports, it can very well be used in automation module to pick those users. So every module of the product is integrated. The inactive users report can help me deprovision all those users who've been stale or inactive for the last 180 days. I can choose that report, say last 180 days, exclude disabled log on users if I never logged on users if I want to, say okay, and every time when the users fall under this category or inactive, the automation policy is automatically going to delete all of those users. Just in case if you're wondering if you can manually do this, yes, you can very simply remove this from report option and key in a constant, and have a CSV file saved in a common location where you can specify the SAM account name of those objects that have to be deleted. So all you have to do is just get to that CSV file. You can name that in your convenient way, say deletion accounts, something like that, and have the user account names filled out. And when you set the automation policy to run on weekly basis, the product is going to look into that CSV every single week on the last day of the week and get those accounts automatically deprovisioned based on the policy that you set. All right, or to make it a lot more simple, you don't even need to have CSV file keyed in manually. You can very well choose from the list of reports that are available based on your requirements, and say inactive users, like the last case, the inactive users who've been for the last 2 months, say okay and get going with the process. So thank you so much for the question, John. I hope it's helped a lot of you understand as to what the product can do for you. You can also automate the entire user deprovisioning or cleanup. Just as a continuation to the automation that we've been talking about, user onboarding is something that all of us would definitely want to automate. Why to wait for a ticket to come in? Why to perform all these actions one after the other? What if I tell you that your HR, all that your HR has to do is specify the name of the user in a CSV file, and you can forget user onboarding and everything is going to happen all by itself. So I can set an automation for onboarding right here. All right, I can set a user automation to pick up the values of that specific requirement. All right, pick up the value from the template or the CSV file. I'll show you how a CSV file would look. I hope I have a sample CSV file. All right, there you go. So I have a sample CSV file that just has the basic details, the first name, the last name, and the template name. I can, as a matter of fact, get rid of this template name and apply the template from within the selection right here. All right. So if I'm doing a multi-department onboarding in one go, I can have my HR fill out a simple CSV file, just these basic attributes, and then make sure that the automation runs on a daily basis. And say, for example, at the start of the day, the HR comes in and makes the request at 10. So I'm running my automation at 12 in the morning. All right. After 2 hours, the CSV files are going to be looked up. The templates are going to be, mapped, and the users are going to be automatically provisioned in Active Directory. Yes. So The question that John has asked has turned out to be a quite useful question. Now, for the other half of the question, where we were discussing as to how to keep track of what's been happening in this environment, how to keep track of all the actions that were performed. So that is again going to be possible under AD delegation. Since we are delegating the action to the product, we have an audit report that is going to give you a close watch on what's happening. So all those actions that we perform through the Service Desk Plus integration, we will have a list of the objects that were created, modified, deleted, passwords reset, account unlocked, what time, which object, by who, all those details listed for you. So I'm getting again into the audit reports right here. The audit reports are going to give me an extensive list of the objects that were modified in my required time span. I can say my own time span. It could be an hour, it could be a day, it could be in the last 30 days, and it's going to give me an exhaustive list of all those actions that were performed. So the audit reports are quickly loading up. Since I've been doing multiple operations, I've configured a few automations for you. I've configured the product and did a few AD management tasks from Service Desk. I've got it right here. So I started off by creating Mike Jordan. All right. That was the first action that I performed today. And the product has logged that action for you. The details of the user account. For what seemed like a very simple request, there were these many attributes that were worked in the background. Attributes like country, attributes like the container department, and all of that have been keyed in and also mentioned for various platforms. All that has happened, a tight track is kept on all of that and logged. Yes, in fact, the last action that we performed was user deletion. That as well is logged in. For Roy as well, the attributes are filled out and all of that is listed. So any action that you perform, we're able to see that more actions were performed before. User creation, user deletion, any action that's performed, password reset, anything from the integration, all of that can be logged. To simplify this still further, you need not generate audit reports. You can schedule the audit reports and have them inboxed to your email address. So you can have the frequency set and get those audit reports delivered to your inbox. All right. So I haven't set a schedule as of now, but then you can very well do that. You can say every 15th day, I'd want to do an audit on all those actions that my help desk technicians perform through this integration. It's going to give the name of the technician, the action performed, the object on which it was performed. So that way, you're happy because your things get done. Your auditors are also happy because every aspect of the management is configured or is kept quite a close watch on, and it's tracked. All right, you have audit trials. So that way, what are we achieving through today's integration? Just a quick overview. We've been going over an hour understanding as to how this integration can be helpful. We just saw how to provision users across platforms. Excuse me. We saw how the management actions are going to be helpful from the actions menu in the product. We then also saw that the end users have access to certain service catalog templates that can simplify the process. We got into the automation side of things and saw how to automate user deprovisioning. We saw how to make the whole onboarding process simple. Yes. So to just give you an overview as to how the onboarding works, the employees are going to get onboarded from the CSV file that I pulled up right there. Yes, automatically going to get created across platforms. When it comes to the policy, yes, these are going to form the logic behind what's going to happen. And when it comes to cleanup, you're definitely going to be right on track with almost no inactive objects in your account, an environment that's perfectly safe, an environment that's perfectly secure, and at the same time, just giving you a recap, since the disable delete policy was set, not just Active Directory accounts, but also my Office 365, Skype, and all those other checklist of things that I had to do for deprovisioning are in place and in removed, ensuring an effective license utilization and improved security for my entire environment. So all of that is removed through the process. Yes. So what do we have? We've got time saved, we've got definitely a lot of effort saved, and in turn we have tremendous value through this integration. So I leave it to you. Go on, perform this integration, get in touch with me. I'm available 24/5. You can get in touch with me. You can let me know if you have any difficulty setting up. You can let me know if you have a very specific case that you'd want me to help you with. We can work out a plan and we can get that done. All right, so that being said, I look forward to hearing from you. Thanks once again for being such a wonderful audience. We went through all of this. I've given you a recap already. Yes, I'm available at the chat right now to take your questions and demonstrate, just in case you want any specific functionality explained. This is Jay, your presenter for the day, signing off. You all have a great day. Thank you so much. For those who want a copy of the video, just drop me a message. Fill out the survey in the end if you have a specific feature request in this integration. You want to see something through this integration, just fill out the survey. We'll work out a plan for you. All right. Thank you once again for being such a great audience. You all have a great day.